Well, good morning, folks. Good morning. Your host, Leonard Robinson, here for another day, working on my little film. Yes. So today is going to be a little different. I haven't really decided what my next scene in this film is going to be. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm sort of reviewing the film that I've done already and looking at looking at the scenes. So what I'm going to do here, let's see, I'm going to bring this down in size behind me here. So you can see here the scene, and we'll make it a little bigger here, just so that I can play it here. So this is the scenes that have already been shot and put together, and this is how the film is playing so far. And so what I'm making a decision about right now is what the next scenes are going to be. And I think I mentioned to you before that one of the things that you might do sometimes when you're working on a film is you may find yourself changing your mind about certain scenes or certain things that you want to do in your film. And so, you might keep things that you've created that you may have cut out of your film and put them back in later, whatever. So right now what I'm doing is I'm looking at what I've got already and I'm kind of trying to assess the situation as to, well, what would my next scenes be? So so that's kind of where I'm at right now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull up uh, the Storyboard Pro program. So now this program you're seeing here behind me is called Storyboard Pro. And Storyboard Pro is an excellent program for doing storyboards with. Now, it is an very expensive program. It used to be they sold Storyboard Pro a few years back, and I was thankfully smart enough to buy it back then. It was expensive. It cost me over $1,000 to buy this program. However, you can still get Storyboard Pro, of course, but you have to pay a subscription fee, which is my understanding is somewhere between 85 and 87 or something dollars per month, which is quite a lot. It is the industry standard program, and it is used, um, at the big studios like Disney's and DreamWorks and all that. And part of the reason why they use this software, well, number one, is it because it's the only software that does what it does. It actually creates camera moves, it creates animatics. There's just a lot of things you can do with it that very conveniently that the artists themselves can do. So it has a lot of functions that make it, um, excuse me, very practical to use. Anyway, I mentioned that just so you know what you're getting into. Now, I would suggest for those of you like myself who want to save money, I would say the smart thing to do instead of buying Storyboard Pro, unless if you want to you do the subscription thing, fine. If you want to do that, but say instead of doing that, you could also just buy. If you already have Rough Animator and you already have an editing program, you can just combine those things. So in other words, you can do your story sketches even in Rough Animator. As a series of drawings that you expose together, and then cut your scenes together in your editing program. And I'll be doing some of that, maybe not so much on this project, but on other projects that I do in the future. So anyway, but I just wanted you to see Storyboard Pro. So what I'm doing here now is I'm kind of trying to decide some of the things that I might like to do in upcoming scenes. Now, I had a thought at one point of doing something where the kids are, where the four characters are kids, okay? And so one of the things I thought about doing was showing them when they're kids, when they're little kids. So I had this thought of showing the hospital where they're born. Hospital. Is that how you spell that? So Yeah, so I had this thought of like, okay, well, what if we had if we showed the hospital where the kids were born, right? Maybe just show some buildings. And when you're doing your storyboard, it's probably a good idea to do things a little rough, especially if you're not really sure what your story is going to be yet. You know, might be a good idea to keep things kind of rough. Some of my past employers would be surprised to hear me say that, as clean as I like to work. But there you are. So let's say we got something like this where we start our story out with a shot of the hospital. And then let's say we do like, say, maybe a little truck in on the hospital. So let's see here. Where's my, okay. Let's see. Beginning panel, end of the panel. Okay. So let's say we'll do a truck in to some place here in the building. And let's see. I'm going to have this take. Okay, so what I just did here, if you're wondering what I'm doing, Storyboard Pro has a function that allows you to do a camera move, and I'll show you. If I hit play right now, just for instance, you see it moved in on that background. But it's moving in based on a preset amount of time. Storyboard Pro, the panels, when you make a panel, it automatically gives you 1 second on that panel. I'm going to come over here and change the numbers. So I'm going to make this a slower truck in. So I'm going to say, let's say 3 seconds. Now I made that change over here, and you'll see now when I play it, see it's slower. All right. So that's what I'm thinking, is starting my story that way. Right? All right, stop. So now I'm going to add another panel, new panel. Okay. And so what I'm going to do here is maybe maybe we can have a shot. Oh, this could be cool. Yeah, maybe we got a shot of where the babies are born, right? So we got some shots of the babies, an area where the babies are going to be. Now here's a cool little trick you can do. Um, you can grab, like I'm just going to draw one baby bed, but then I'm going to copy and paste it. Okay. And then I'm going to move it so that it's next to one. Then I'm going to do two, do the same thing. Move those. Right. And then copy again. Whoops. All right. Well, actually, yeah, I'll go over here. Okay. Now, grab all of these and move them like this. And then I can do it again. Copy, paste. And we'll grab all of these and move them down this way. Now we got like an entire, I don't know what you want to call that. Come on, babies. Okay. There's babies everywhere, yes. All right. And we can have, say, like, so in other words, I want to show where the babies are being born. And the idea is that, our 4 little friends are in here. Maybe we got a window here where there's people outside that are waiting, to see their kids, whatever. And maybe we do a little truck in here. So, yeah, so we could do a little truck in, like let's say we go, so same thing here, we go to the camera. Over here on the side left is a little icon with the camera, and you want to click that. Now what that does is it activates the camera. Then you go to the very top here, and there's a little icon, you click on that, and it gives you a drop-down menu. And in the drop-down menu it says, add a keyframe at the beginning of the panel. So we click that. This is what I did just in the prior scene. And so that now is selecting where the camera is going to start. And then I go back, hit the camera and hit it again. It'll say, add a keyframe at the end of the panel. So I'll click that. Now what it's done is it's given me two keyframes that are in the same spot. You'll see a green dot here and a red dot here. The red dot's where we're going. The green dot is where we're coming from. So now what I'm going to do is come up to the edge of the frame here, and I'll wait until I can get that with an arrow down. What that's going to do is, as I drag that down, it makes the square smaller. If I go to the edge of that frame, I can tilt the frame like so. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move this so, and I'm also going to keep it, try to make it, let's see, make it a little bit bigger here. So the idea is I'm going to sort of focus on 4 kids here or something, roughly, all right? So the camera's going to move down on them. So now I've got that start frame, that stop frame. Now let's play it and see what happens. We'll start from the first panel. Play. So we're coming in and coming down. Okay, so that's a little fast. Yeah. All right, let's stop it then. So the second, well, the second one, I didn't give it a number. Okay, if I make this 3 seconds, it'd be better. So over here on the very right, you want to set your setting for panel. Now right here, there's a little thing that says duration. That tells you how long you want this frame to be held. As I mentioned, when you first open up a panel, Storyboard Pro usually has it set at 1 second. And so it'll say 100, that's 1 second. What I'm going to do now is change that to 3 seconds like I did on the other one. So I'm backspacing it. I hit 300, and I'll come back and play this. Should be a little better. Yeah. So you can see I'm trucking in a little bit less fast. Now I think probably what I should do on this is I probably should, I would say probably do a cross dissolve between this scene and this scene. So I think what I'll do is I'll eventually, when I finish the scenes off, I'll do a cross dissolve from here to here, like I did with the title. Because you'll notice that in the title sequence, after the kids paint the title and then they, the title zooms out. Well, I did that zoom out on the title in Storyboard Pro. And then I did it, you'll notice there's a cross dissolve or a fade out or something. I think I fade out. I either fade out or fade back in, or I cross dissolve. I think I might have faded out. Anyways, and then I come back in. So I think what I'm going to do on this is that I'm going to cross dissolve from this scene to this scene. Yeah, and I'll do that with my software. All right, so I'm kind of trying to think of like, where do I want to go with this? Because my lyricist, Alphonse, did a bit where he talked about the kids as preschoolers. And then it occurred to me like, well, it might be kind of nice to show them as babies and how when they first meet and everything. So that's kind of where my head's at right now. I'm thinking of going back. So you can see I'm changing my mind about the scene that I cut out. I think now I'm going to put that scene back in and, play where because see, with this film, I'm sort of doing something a little differently than I normally would do with a film. Usually I do all the storyboarding first and then start animating. But like I said before, yesterday or whenever that was, I mentioned that because I had done a book and I had had the book printed and finished, I was using that as like a storyboard. But as it turns out now that I'm doing this film, I'm realizing, wait a minute, maybe I need to explore the story a little bit more and get more into it. So this is a little unorthodox to be doing this, back and forth like this. But, the process of me doing all of this is really just to show you me working on this in real time. And, it's whatever it's going to take to get something done. Um, when you know what it is you want to do with your film, it makes the whole process easier. But, it's not like you're married to any one way of doing something. So feel free to try different things because it's fine. It's not like it's going to be wrong to do it the way you're doing it. Um, how whatever it takes to reap the results that you want is what you're going to want to do. Okay, well, I think I'm going to stop here, and we'll pick it up tomorrow. But I thought this might be kind of a nice thing for you to see because it's a little different from what we usually do. Usually, that, like I said, the process is done in one certain direction, but I think it is important for you to see how things sometimes can change. All right, well, hey, have a great day, folks. Let's see here. Where's my cursor? I gotta get my cursor in the right spot. Yeah, so have a great day, folks. I'll see you all tomorrow. And don't forget to thank God for your talents and gifts. And I'll see you tomorrow. And don't forget that Jesus is Lord.